Hari Om. Welcome to another class in English literature. Today we'll be continuing with the same story, The Fun They Had. But before we proceed further, let me just recapitulate a bit about what happened in the story earlier. You find that the story has a backdrop of the year 2155, and the story very well, the writer showcases the advancement of technology that is found in the particular story. And the story is not just about man's dependence on technology. The story is also not about how much the world has advanced technologically. But the story at this point of time is to bring up, or rather to bring out, the teacher-student relationship and generally the personal touch that we find, the purity in the relationship that is found between a teacher and a student today. Margie did not like going to her school, and that is exactly what she had in her mind. Now, when I ask you, do you like going to school? Many of you will definitely say yes, and many will say no. But let me tell you something. For all those reasons you like to go to school is due to the interaction that you have with your teachers, that you have with your friends, that you have with your batchmates, your seniors or juniors. Imagine the emotional connection that you have been developing with your school and the school premises for over the years. Imagine yourselves hanging out on the corridors. Imagine yourselves hanging out in the classrooms, having tiffins together, playing in the basketball court, playing games of different types, and getting scolded by the teacher, getting patted by the teacher, getting appreciated by the teacher. Don't you think going to a school for us, for you, is a myriad experience? It's full of variety. Because the experiences that we gain by going to school, there are various experiences. Now, when you compare your experiences and when you look at Margie's life, Margie basically had nothing in her life. If you look at it in that manner, you will find that in the name of school, she only had that big black box called teacher, who had practically no personal connection with her, who was only designed to give lots and lots of homework to Margie, lots and lots of tests to Margie, and that is how it all happened. Margie had no emotional connection with her teacher. I'm sorry. And that is not the case with us, or probably that is not the case with you all. Now, we saw at this point of time that the teacher, the level of the teacher was brought down to the age of a standard 10 girl. Now, what is education? Education education is not something that practically talks about the text. Because you cannot judge anybody's personal growth or intellectual growth on the basis of years. As I told you in my last session, that a person may be 11 years old but might have experiences like an 18-year-old person. And when you specially interact with somebody, there are chances of knowledge being enhanced. Now look at this point here where we had stopped previously. The teacher has been, the level of the teacher has been put down or programmed in such a way that Maji is able to cope up with the teacher. That is not how it happens when it's about a human touch or when it's about a personal interaction. We get to know so much from our teachers, not just in one particular subject, but many subjects. Even if I'm talking, to you about English, in that particular conversation, it may happen that we discuss a bit of history, we discuss a bit of geography. It may happen. Even when your science teacher talks to you about science, she or he might be discussing a bit about computers as well. You never know. And that is the benefit that lacked in this particular story. Now, when we talk about the title of the story, when we talk about the fun they had, and I told you it's about the fun that the grandfather had in his school. Because Maji practically had no fun in her school. She hated her school. So we'll continue again. The last line, I'll just continue from the last line that we had stopped. Tommy looked at her with very superior eyes because it's not our kind of school, stupid. Tommy, being elder, who was 13 years old and Maji was just 11 years old, Tommy behaved in a very bossy manner with his sister, with Maji. This is the old kind of school they had hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Now, this is a science fiction, as I had told you. Isaac Asimov, a writer who pertained to the science fiction genre, has come up with a story thinking about the future years, thinking about the advancement of technology, the advancement of technological gadgets, etc., has very well shown the reaction of the children who were born in those times as well. Today, definitely when we see things happening around us, we react more. And the reason is very simple, because we are personally connected. Somebody falling down, we go and we pick that person up. That is what we do. Why do we do so? Because our way of getting educated has been value oriented. Because education somehow is not just restricted to books and texts. It's practically about the values that we derive from the texts or the subjects that we learn. Values that actually help us to lead our lives in a much better manner. And you see that when you talk about being emotive or being sympathetic or being relatable, when you talk about the element of relatability, you can very well make out that Tommy could not relate himself with a kind of, to the kind of school that grandfather probably went to. But somewhere, Maji wanted to know what kind of a school it was. So, they had a school hundreds and hundreds of years ago. He added loftily, pronouncing the word carefully, centuries ago. So there was a very subtle approach in Tommy's statement when he basically talked about the fact that the schools that were found centuries ago, those schools were very different. Tommy was very conscious, especially to portray the kind of school or the kind of schools that existed hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Maji was hurt. Well, I don't know what kind of school they had all that time ago. She read the book over his shoulder for a while, then said, "Anyway, they had a teacher." My dear friends, this is the power of relationships. This is the power of value-based education. I had told you the other day, if I do not have any expressions on my face, if I don't frown, if I don't smile, you basically cannot connect to me. And if you do not connect to me, education or learning practically has got no meaning in it. Believe me. And that is exactly what Maji had in her mind. Maji said, at least they had a teacher. Because in the name of teacher, what did Maji get? Nothing. Just a big black box with no expressions, only questions, tests, exercises, project work, etc., etc. No interaction, no personal connectivity, no emotive connectivity, nothing. Sure, they had a teacher, but it wasn't a regular teacher. It was a man. Oh my God. Now look at that. This is the contrast again that you find in this story. Isaac Asimov, in a very beautiful manner, very evocatively, he points out the temperament of the children in those days also. I'm sorry. Today, if somebody tells you to stay in a village for more than 20 days, maximum of you would not want to stay. Although villages are beautiful, although villages, are very close to nature, they provide fresh air, you find everything. But since you are used to an advanced lifestyle, you would not want to go and stay in a village for 4-5 days. It's fine, but not more than that. I mean, that depends from person to person, but majority will not want to, downgrade the lifestyle. Similarly, here, Tommy was very clear in stating the fact that the teacher was a man. Because for them, it was all machine. And believe me, it's a threat also. Why? Because if you do not interact, if you do not communicate, there are chances for you of becoming very coarse from within. So it was a man. A man? How could a man be a teacher? Well, he just told the boys and girls things, gave them homework and asked them questions. A man isn't smart enough. And that is the irony. Believe me, how ironical is this, that we human beings who made machines, such children undermine a man's capabilities, because that is the lifestyle they had. Because their lives were so much oriented and dominated by the machines that they could not possibly believe that even a man could have been intelligent enough to be telling things. But staying in today's world, we understand very well what a beautiful scenario it is that we get chances of interacting with our teachers on a personal level, or even the friends on a personal level. Sure, he is. My father knows as much as my teacher. My father knows as much as my teacher. A man can't know as much as a teacher. How can a man know? A teacher has got lots of slots for homework. A teacher has got lots of slots for assignments. How can a man know all that? But these poor children, by poor I mean they don't realize the reality. These children, they fail to understand the power of a human being. Why did they fail to understand the power of a human being? Because they could not relate to their own teacher. A man can't know as much as a teacher. He knows almost as much, I bet you. Maji wasn't prepared to dispute that. She said, I wouldn't want a strange man in my house to teach me. Look at that. In a country like India, where we consider Guru Devo Maheshwara, in a country like India where we hail the notion Atithi Devo Bhava, what are these? These epithets or these shlokas that I am talking about, they're not just restricted to textual value. They are related straight away to the heart. When a stranger comes to your house, the first thing that mother tells to the stranger is, please come in. What would you like to have? Tea, coffee, or at least a glass of water? And this is how values get to be seen through a man's behavior. Many of you must be going for tuitions. Many of you must be going for coaching classes. And how beautifully you mingle with your teachers. How beautifully you mingle with all the strangers who later on become your friends. How do you do that? You do that because you are emotionally connected. And that emotional connection was absent. So that is where the writer again satirizes this society, not this society where excessive dependence on machines has practically made children of this age less emotive, less emotional. So Maji does not want a stranger to come into her house and teach her. She does not. So, how will Maji understand the concept of Atiti Devo Bhava? Or how will Maji understand the concept of Guru Devo Maheshwara? Because she never interacted with her teacher personally. Never ever did she interact. Tommy screamed with laughter, "You don't know much, Maji!" The teachers didn't live in the house. And that is again a blow to Maji's concept of a teacher. First of all, Maji could not imagine a human teaching her. Number two, she would not allow her privacy to be hampered with the presence of the teacher, by the presence of the teacher. And now, the next concept that gets developed is that Maji was told by Tommy that the teachers did not stay in the house of the student or the houses of the students. They had a special building and all the kids went there. Wow. Just the way we do. And this is talking about this age. And all the kids learned the same thing. And that is what another value is highlighted through the story. The value of being united. The value of equality. The value of personalized learning, the value of, individual attention. Imagine Ramesh, Suresh, Mahesh, Mukesh sitting in a classroom. The teacher gives sums on the board, or teacher gives grammar on the board. Suresh and Mahesh look out of the window. The teacher goes, "Hey Mahesh, what's wrong with you? What is that?" That is called personalized learning. That is called individual attention that the teacher pays to the children. Do you find that happening here? No. So that is the reason it was not very convenient for Maji to imagine. Now, slowly and slowly, Maji will undergo a transition, and she will, start realizing the beauty of a teacher-student relationship, of, again, the beauty of a student-student relationship. So all those children went there, they learned the same things. Sure, if they were at the same age. Now, if I'm 15 years old, I'll sit with another boy or another girl who's 15 years old. I'll be taught the same thing. So there is uniformity in teaching, there is uniformity in learning, and the levels don't go up or down like you find in the machine, like you find happening in the machine. But my mother says a teacher has to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and a girl it teaches, and each kid has to be taught differently. So another concept. And as you saw, that the county inspector came and he brought the level down of the machine to a 10 years old child's level. 10 years old child. So that is the concept that Maji also had. Just the same, they didn't do it that way then. If you don't like it, you don't have to read the book. I didn't say I didn't like it, Maji said quickly. So slowly and slowly, Maji was getting fascinated by what used to happen in the schools of the yesteryears. She wanted to read about those funny schools. They weren't even half finished when Maji's mother called, "Maji, school." Maji looked up. "Not yet, Mama." "Now, said Mrs. Jones, and it's probably time for Tommy too." So it was time for them to attend school. The machine was all set up. Maji said to Tommy, "Can I read the book some more with you after school?" And that is how Maji slowly and slowly got attracted, got inclined towards the schools of the present day that you find today. "Maybe," he said nonchalantly. He didn't bother much. He walked away whistling, the rusty old book tucked beneath his arm. Maji went into the schoolroom. It was right next to her bedroom. And the mechanical teacher was on and waiting for her. It was always at the same time every day except Saturday and Sunday, because her mother said that little girls learned better if they learned at regular hours. Learning takes place the best, believe me, when there is a change of place also. Because learning is not restricted to a machine. Learning is not restricted to a book. Learning is not restricted to one place. Learning practically is all about observation. Maji had nothing to observe. Maji only knew that she had to be in her bedroom, and the very next to her bedroom was the schoolroom where she had to go and sit in front of the teacher, where the teacher would blink, would give her homework, would give her assignments, projects, test papers, blah, blah, blah. What would give Maji an opportunity to learn through experiences? I mean, no, there was no chance of experiences on the forefront here. And that is the reason why she wanted to know more about those schools that existed centuries ago. The screen was lit up and it said, today's arithmetic lesson is on the addition of proper fractions. Please insert yesterday's homework in the proper slot. And this is all. That was all activity was restricted to. Taking out one slot, inserting the other. No interaction, no communication, no observation, no relatability, no connection, nothing. A very staple, monotyped communication system. By monotyped, I mean communication from one end. Only the machine communicates. Margie cannot communicate. Margie did so with a sigh. She had no interest. And somehow she did it. She was thinking about the old schools they had when her grandfather's grandfather was a little boy. All the kids from the whole neighborhood came laughing and shouting in the schoolyard, sitting together in the classroom, going home together at the end of the day. What is happening in these lines? In these lines you find there is a lot of opportunities for creating better experiences, for observation, communication, reaction, and most importantly, building memories. Today, any child who's in standard 9, tomorrow he goes to 12th standard, next day he becomes a graduate, next day he becomes a postgraduate, a professional, and finally when he comes back to his own town and he crosses his school, he waits and thinks, oh my God, that is to be the corridor where I sat. Or this used to be the classroom where I, hid during recess. What are these? These are memories. Absolutely, these are memories. And where did that child develop these memories? In school. So was there any opportunity for Margie creating memories? Not at all. No chance. And that is the reason she sat and she contemplated, she fascinated, she fantasized. They learned the same things so they could help one another. See, again the value of cooperation, teamwork is seen in this particular area. So they could help one another on the homework and talk about it. And the teachers were people. Absolutely. Teachers were people. Teachers talked, teachers listened, teachers interacted, teachers communicated. The mechanical teacher was flashing on the screen. So see the contrast. Margie is in a world of imagination, and from there the blinking screen brings her to reality, which was so sordid, so mundane, so boring. When we add the fractions, half and 1/4, blah, 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 and the screen goes on. Margie was thinking about the kids, how the kids must have loved in the old days. She was thinking about the fun they had. And that is how Margie preferred getting lost in her own dreams, where she thought about the schools that existed centuries ago. Now another lesson, I must say, if we critically analyze this story, another thing that I want you to understand here is a very basic thing. When we have something in front of us, we practically do not value. Like today, when we have the opportunity of talking to each other, knowing each other, loving each other, smiling with one another, we don't value human presence. We are all the time with our mobile phones. We are fidgety. We keep playing. We want to stick more to our laptops, tablets, etc., etc., etc. And that is how we do not value the people around us. So again, Isaac Asimov, through the last part, also communicates the importance of people, how important people are, how important teachers are, how important friends are, how important family is. So therefore, when we get something, we do not value until we don't get it, like Margie. So with that, we come to the end of the lecture. Before I wind up for the day, I want you to understand the story from basically 2 to 3 angles. Angles number 1, the social aspect. How is the story giving a social message? I mean, there is no harm in being advanced. There is no harm in being an advanced society. But the second aspect, the aspect of Margie, or the aspect of present education system. The word fun here does not restrict to just playing, laughing, jumping, skipping, hopping. No. But it talks about the beautiful relations that we can build up by interacting, communicating, and expressing ourselves in a better, positive manner. And that is exactly what adds to the fun that we basically have. Now, there are many children who do not want to go to school. The same children who do not want to go to school today will be missing school badly tomorrow. Why? Because the school where you study, it's not just a place, children. It's not just a place where you give your fees and you're done with the thing. No. It's about many individuals. It's about your teachers. It's about your friends. It's about the support staff. It's about the watchman. It's about the canteen wala. I mean, the person who sells stuff. I mean, it's about everything. And believe me, school, as portrayed in this particular story, the understatement is very simple. School is a place to build up good, positive memories. So with that, I end today's class. If there is any doubt, please feel free to come back. Thank you. Have a good day. Hari Om.